Guys, we've got some breaking news coming out of Las Vegas. And honestly, I'm sitting here at 6 in the morning trying to make sense of what the Raiders are doing. Yeah, trust me, with this team, you never know what's coming next. What's up, Raiders Nation? Welcome to the NFL Playbook, Raiders. So, Tyler Lockett is now a Raider. This is a reunion we all saw coming from a mile away, right? Lockett's connection with Pete Carroll goes way back. Carroll drafted him in the third round of the 2015 NFL Draft when he was with the Seattle Seahawks. They worked together from 2015 all the way to 2023. And from everything I've heard, these two are really good friends. Even after Pete left Seattle, they stayed close. And then you've got the Geno Smith connection. Geno and Lockett were teammates in Seattle. They built chemistry together, and now they're getting back together in Las Vegas. If you haven't figured it out by now, this organization loves bringing in guys who have connections. That's just how they operate, and Lockett is another perfect example of that philosophy. Now, here's where I start scratching my head a little bit. We're sitting here at 2-5 coming out of the bye week, and we're adding a 33-year-old veteran wide receiver. I've been saying this over and over again, but I genuinely don't understand why a team in our position is making this kind of move. Look, I get what this team cares about. They care about their investments. The two biggest investments we made this offseason were Geno Smith and Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly became the highest-paid offensive coordinator at $6 million. That's not a crazy amount of money in NFL terms, but it's significant. And whether Pete Carroll keeps his job 2 or 3 years down the road is probably going to depend on whether those investments pan out. Geno Smith needs weapons, he needs chemistry, and he needs to start playing better. So bringing in a guy like Tyler Lockett, someone Geno already has a relationship with, makes sense from that perspective. But here's my issue with all of this. A few weeks ago, I talked about this exact possibility, and I said the first thing this tells me is that Jakobi Meyers is getting traded. I keep saying it because it just makes too much sense. We all know Jakobi's been asking to get dealt. They were on a bye week this past week, so they had time to work on potential deals. There are teams out there that need receivers. Pittsburgh just lost on Sunday Night Football, and they could definitely use another weapon. Buffalo blew out Carolina, but they've been heavily connected to wide receiver talks all season. And then there's New England. The Patriots' connection is real with Jakobi because of Josh McDaniels. And if you've been paying attention, Jakobi still follows New England on Instagram, but doesn't follow the Raiders. That tells you something right there.
The NFL trade deadline is November 4th at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. We play our Week 9 game on November 2nd against Jacksonville, and then the deadline hits 2 days later. After that, we've got a Thursday night game against Denver. If I'm Jakobi Meyers, I want to get dealt this week because I don't think the Raiders are going to be making many moves between the 2nd and the 4th. They're going to be too busy preparing for that Thursday night game. So if any trades are going down, I think it's happening this ongoing week. That gives teams a full week to prepare and integrate a new player. The move to sign Lockett really does smell like a Jakobi Meyers trade is coming. Now, Adam Schefter put out a report saying the Raiders are willing to keep Jakobi despite his trade request. According to Schefter, the Raiders would only deal him if they felt they were getting strong value in return, and apparently that kind of offer hasn't materialized yet. So essentially, teams aren't offering enough. Nobody's come in with a second or third round pick that makes the Raiders want to pull the trigger. Maybe the Raiders are using Schefter to drive up the value a little bit. You know how it works. If you trade a guy 2 weeks ago, maybe you get a 7th rounder. But if you wait until right before the deadline, maybe you can squeeze out a 5th or a 4th. I find it interesting that we're bringing in Tyler Lockett while all this Jakobi stuff is swirling around. To me, it signals that, yeah, we're probably moving on from Jakobi. Honestly, though, if the return is only a 5th-round pick, I'd rather just keep the guy and give him a raise. We have the cap space. Give him $10 million more this year, make him happy, and keep him around. Because if we have Tyler Lockett, Jakobi Meyers, Trey Tucker, and Brock Bowers all healthy and playing together, that's actually a pretty solid offensive group. I think the offense could genuinely be better moving forward with all 4 of those guys on the field. Let me talk about Lockett specifically for a second, because I think he's an interesting fit for what we need. Lockett is 33 years old, so he's obviously not in his prime anymore. He struggled a bit this season with the Titans, playing with a rookie quarterback in Cam Ward. Last year with Seattle, he didn't put up the kind of numbers he had in the 4 years before that when he went over 1,000 yards 4 straight seasons. But here's the thing about Lockett. He's a deep threat receiver, and guys who rely on speed tend to age a little better than guys who rely purely on route running or size. If you're a route runner at 33, you're going to slow down and your cuts won't be as sharp. If you're a big physical receiver, you're not going to jump as high or be as quick. But if you're a speed guy, a deep threat, You can still do damage even as you get older. You're not running 60 routes trying to gain 2 or 3 yards. You're running deep concepts, and that's something that can still work.
The Tyler Lockett signing tells me one thing, and I'm going to be very clear about this. Pete Carroll and this coaching staff believe they can still win football games. Pete keeps saying it, they keep saying it. This is a move that screams we're trying to win now. But I just don't know if we're anywhere close to being able to win games. If Tyler Lockett is the magic ingredient that snaps his fingers and suddenly Geno Smith plays the way he's supposed to play, and this offense moves the way it's supposed to move, then yeah, it's worth every penny. But call me crazy, I don't think we're one Tyler Lockett away from fixing this thing. We have so many issues with this team. Here's my other concern, and I've talked to some people around the team about this. There's frustration brewing in that locker room similar to what happened during the Josh McDaniels days. We've already seen this coaching staff choose favorites with certain players. Whether you want to admit it or not, it's the truth. They have their guys. If bringing in another Pete Carroll guy means they're going to show favoritism again while other guys have to compete for snaps, that's going to rub people the wrong way. Lockett has to play well, because you can't keep bringing in all your Pete Carroll guys, getting everything you asked for, and still be this bad. Tyler Lockett and Geno Smith need to play better. If 2 weeks go by and Geno's still not playing better, the heat gets cranked up on him even more. It cranks up on Pete Carroll, on Chip Kelly, on everybody. Before we wrap up, I want to touch on a couple of other things quickly. We're also getting Lonnie Johnson Jr. back from injury, which is huge for our special teams. If you don't know who Lonnie is, he's a special teams ace. He's tremendous on special teams, one of the best gunners in the league, and our special teams unit has been one of the worst parts of this team all season. Getting him back is a legitimate boost. Pete Carroll even talked about how much they miss Lonnie and how he does things that haven't been recognized earlier in his career. He provides depth in the secondary too, but special teams is where he really shines. Hopefully he gets back in the game shape quickly because we need him out there. Lastly, I want to take a moment to acknowledge some really sad news. Carol Davis, the First Lady of Raider Nation, passed away on Friday at the age of 93. She was the wife of Al Davis and the mother of Mark Davis. Rest in peace to Carol Davis. We also lost George Atkinson, one of the greatest safeties in Raiders history. He had 30 career interceptions, which is just incredible. Rest in peace to him as well. These are legends of this organization, and they deserve to be remembered and honored. So that's where we're at, nation. Tyler Lockett is a Raider. Jakobi Meyers might be on his way out. We're getting Lonnie Johnson back, and we're about to see if this team can actually turn things around in the second half of the season. I'm skeptical, I'll admit that, but I'm also still here watching every single game and breaking down every move. If you want to stay up to date with everything Raiders, make sure you're subscribed and hit that notification bell. Drop a comment below and let me know what you think about the Lockett signing. Do you think this helps us win games, or should we be focused on developing our young guys? I'll catch you in the next one.